Next pick in the 6th round. People have been screaming about it forever. They wanted him in the 3rd, 4th. The Steelers waited till the 6th, and he was still available. Will Howard out of Ohio State, but played more football at Kansas State. I'm just going to throw that in there, Big G. But so Will Howard goes to the Steelers. Um, I haven't heard. There's a few people out there that don't like it, but it's a 6th round pick. People are saying it's a wasted pick. I'm like, a wasted pick in the 6th round when the guy was projected to go in the 4th? That doesn't make sense. You don't have to like Will Howard. You don't have to think he's great, because I don't happen to think he's great. But Big G, in the 6th round, the value is undeniable. And if he can develop into something, you found one.
Yeah. We stole one, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
And let me say this, B, you are absolutely correct. He did play more at Kansas State. And go back and look how he looked at Kansas State against Texas, against the big boy programs. He destroyed them. Every time he played them, destroyed them. He comes to Ohio State. Now, the issue was, and everybody makes point to this, look at the talent that he played with at Ohio State. I mean, heck, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Buka, Carnell Tate. He played with killers. Okay, we know that. But talent in the NFL is very similar to that. If you look at his wide receiving core that he had at Ohio State, look what he's going to walk into in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with George Pickens, DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson. He's got dogs he's playing with. He's got 2 dog running backs he's going to play with. So I don't think the spotlight will ever be big for Howard. And bottom line is, he's a huge man. He's 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds. And I'm telling y'all, he runs a legit 4.5. That kid can move. And like that RPO game where he's got to pull it and turn the corner, you can count it. And he's got a nice arm. He's actually got a big arm, right? So the issue is, can he continue to develop as a pro? Because we saw what he did moving from Kansas State to come to Ohio State up underneath Ryan Day and how he developed as a quarterback. I'll still say, I don't care what nobody say, he was concussed against Michigan. That's why he looked horrible. But go back and look at his playoff run against the biggest competition in college football. He killed everybody he played. He destroyed everybody he played. So I'm digging Will Howard. I think he's our backup and waiting, but develop the kid because he could be more than a project. Not Josh Allen, but could become a starter in the NFL. I believe it. Now, I might be wrong, but I believe it, B.
Yep. What do you think, Jason?
I agree. I'll piggyback off of some of what Big G said. Great size. But what stands out the most to me about Will Howard is he got consistently better. Not just consistently better in regular moments, in the biggest moments on the national stage. MVP of the national championship game, if I'm correct. I think that's what happened. But good base in the pocket. I think he has enough arm strength. I think he can get it done. And like Big B said, that RPO game, good and short yardage. He's going to score the football. Definitely a good guy, good player. Again, I think he can do some things that maybe some other kids can't or some other young men can't. He can throw off platform, which is really cool to have. Everybody can't do that. So, definitely, I think it was a solid pick. I don't think it was a wasted pick. I think
No.
there's potential there. Probably a backup for a while, but maybe he gets that chance and he never lets it go. We've been wanting a quarterback that's big and tough and can move around and manipulate the pocket. And here's your guy. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how he grows.
Yeah, my thing is that Will Howard has been there before.
Right.
You know, he won a Big 12 championship with Kansas State, comes to Ohio State, wins a national championship when basically the pressure was all on him because Ohio State fans and everybody nationally, the media thought Ohio State has enough talent outside of the quarterback to win a national championship. Will he have enough talent and be able to make enough plays, get the ball to people where they can actually do things and go win? Well, he was able to do that. The reason that I like him, you know, there's a lot of people that love Justin Fields out there. You know, going back and doing the all 22s of the entire football games that I'm doing right now, that, by the way, if you are a member of Steelers Almighty, you can check out the all 22s. Make sure you guys do that and sign up if you're not a member. But going back and looking at that, Justin Fields never trusted his eyes. He saw guys that were wide open, about to be open, and he just wouldn't pull the trigger. You're not going to have to worry about that about Will Howard. Will Howard will throw the football. He reads defenses outstanding, as somebody in the chat had put. He reads defenses great. He anticipates throws. Now, he doesn't have the biggest arm. I'm not saying that. He's not the fastest guy. He's a 4.85 guy. Okay, but he's athletic enough. He can get outside the pocket enough. He can do all those things, but he's not going to be able to throw the football. And one thing that I know Steeler fans are going to appreciate, Will Howard will throw the ball over the middle of the field. He doesn't give a damn. If the route means and somebody's going to be open over the middle of the field in between the hashes, Will Howard's throwing that football. We're not going to have to deal with Russell Wilson never throwing it over the middle, Justin Fields not trusting his eyes. Now, look, this is if Will Howard gets on the field. I don't think he's going to. I think Will Howard's a project. I think he's a guy that could be a solid backup in this league, kind of like a Mason Rudolph. Solid backup, spot starter, but I think he's got more ability than Mason Rudolph. I think his upside is bigger than Mason Rudolph's. So if you can tap into that, you found something in the 6th round. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, no, but I think he's got better potential than what a Mason Rudolph is. Where Mason Rudolph went in the 3rd, Will Howard in the 6th. I just love the pick, guys. I love the pick. Again, I wasn't the highest guy on Will Howard, but in the 6th round, yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's all about value, man. It's all about value.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
When I was watching his tape a little bit, do you think he'll struggle when he's throwing that out route against highly athletic NFL cornerbacks? It just seemed sometimes a little bit slow. I know Big G, you watch these guys all the time. Do you think that's something he's going to struggle with? I couldn't really decide whether he would or he wouldn't.
At Ohio State, so Ohio State is Ryan Day's offense is different than a lot of things that you see in the NFL because Ryan Day actually reads from the inside out versus the outside in. You know, the famous play in the NFL is Spider 2 wide banana. You know, you're looking for the first outside seam, you're looking for the seam routes, and then you're looking for the back out of the backfield. But you're taught, don't throw the ball late back. Because if you do, that's a pick 6, right? Well, Ohio State's offense damn near teaches the opposite. I promise you it does. Because the deal is that they have so much talent on the outside that you might be able to throw a back shoulder pass to the outside wide receiver on a curl route or a comeback route, which in the NFL, that's going to get picked. So there's where the development aspect comes because I didn't see him struggle like that at Kansas State. And he had way less talent concerning the wide receiver room than he did at Ohio State. So that's just a matter of coaching it, putting him in position to make the right play, because I don't think he's going to throw it late on backside shoulder routes or curl routes coming back to the quarterback. But like B said, in the middle of the field, he's going to throw a dot. He's going to hit DK Metcalf and Jeremiah Smith is the same freaking player. Right. Now, George Pickens is different, but he had that talent with Cornell Tate and Emeka Egbuka. He's seen this before. So what I'm telling you, he's going to dot a guy up in the middle, and he loves tight ends too. He made Guy Scott almost a draftable NFL player, and Guy Scott struggled at Ohio State University. So now with Move in Washington, oh my God. Yeah, this kid's not going to be scared to throw the ball nowhere in the middle of the field. And B, and Jason, he will tuck and run that bad baby.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about when it breaks down, he's going to pull it down and be like, you can't freaking tackle me. I'm bigger than you are. So, yeah, go with Will Howard. Go with the project.
Here's the last thing I'll say about Will Howard before we move on is Will Howard, when you think about him, he's a bigger Brock Purdy.
Facts.
Brock Purdy is the product of having a lot of talented guys around him. And when he's got talented guys around him, he can make the plays, damn it.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have a lot of talent, he's not the greatest quarterback. Well, look, and I saw 4 years of him at Kansas State because I went to Kansas State. I watch him all the time. And Will Howard was pretty good, but like Big G said, they didn't have near the talented roster in general that he had at Ohio State. He looked like a totally different quarterback with more talented players. Now, don't get me wrong, the NFL has nothing but talented guys, but at the same time, if you give him weapons, he will be able to make plays for you. You got to give him weapons. But, if you go in with a limited offense and limited weapons, I don't know that he's going to look the great. But, Jason, you had a good point as far as him struggling throwing the out route. He did that at Kansas State, but that was more a product of schematics, and the offensive system and what they were asking him to do. Kansas State didn't have a lot of stuff going over the middle. It was predicated on throwing the ball outside and outside the numbers. Well, good teams scout that, and they understand that. So at Ohio State, they did a lot of different stuff, and he didn't have any problems throwing the ball over the middle of the field. So I love the pick. Thought it was great.